In today's Sharp Saturday video, which should probably be called a sort of Sharp Saturday video, we're going to talk about a potentially controversial topic, and that is having a tool to help defend yourself and your family in a non-permissive environment where actual steel, metal knives are not allowed. And we're going to take a look at these Stroup knives, Phantom Edge non-metallic knife. So it's going to be controversial a little bit, so I'll tell you why I think so in just a minute, and we'll take a closer look at this coming up next here on Survival on Purpose. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose. My name's Brian. Thanks for joining me for today's sort of Sharp Saturday video, where, as I said, we're going to talk about this Stroup knives, Phantom Edge, non-metallic, calling it a knife, and why I think it might be controversial and why I think it's a really good tool. But first, as usual, today's words of wisdom from the Bible. Today's wisdom is from Proverbs chapter 15, verse 18 in the NLT version. A hot-tempered person starts fights. A cool-tempered person stops them. There you go. And a big thank you to my friends at XS Sights for being a channel sponsor. I was so excited when XS Sights reached out to me to ask me if they could be a sponsor for the channel, because I had been a paying customer of theirs for years using their sites, because they're the only sites I trusted my life to for years. So I happily said yes, because I have no hesitation in recommending them. I literally trust my life to them and my family's life to them on any pistol that I carry. XS sights are the fastest sights in any light. They are made for fighting with a pistol. They're made in the USA, and they're made by a bunch of really good people who know what it takes to. They're shooters. They're not just business people. And if you use the coupon code SOP15, you'll be glad you did. So thanks to XS Sights for being a channel sponsor. They're one of my favorite companies in the world. Now, let's let the controversy begin. And let me just humor me with just a little bit of rambling. I'll keep this brief because this video is going to be short. You can see from the timestamp. But as long as I can remember, I have been somebody who had a knife. Since I was a kid. Before I was old enough to be in Boy Scouts, I had a knife. All through Boy Scouts. As an adult, I just think a knife is a very, very useful tool for so many tasks. And it's disheartening that over the past couple of decades anyway, maybe longer, knives have come to be viewed as in the same way that guns are, like by so many people in our society, that they're evil, horrible, and if you have a knife, you are a ne'er-do-well and up to no good. And I'll tell you, I did a video a couple of years ago, about several different non-metallic self-defense type tools, and some of the comments, man, people apparently have that same mindset, because they were saying, like, you're enabling criminals and stuff. You tell them this stuff. Look, this is not for criminals. I'm not a criminal. I don't think you're a criminal. I think if you're like me, you're somebody who understands that we are our own first responder, and we're the ones responsible for our individual and our family's individual protection, because these places that want to disarm you and don't allow you to have the tools you need to protect yourself and your family are typically, almost universally, unwilling to accept that responsibility themselves. So what do? Well, you can do things like this. You can have something like this, okay? This is my cane, and I actually was having some plantar fasciitis problems last week at SHOT Show, a couple weeks ago at SHOT Show, so I had that with me when I went to see the Eagles at the Sphere, which was a really good concert, by the way. The most expensive concert I ever went to, but man, I don't regret it a bit, because it was great. Anyway, so this is not an ad for the Eagles. I'm just telling you, if you get a chance to go, if you can swing it, you can make it work, I highly recommend it. It was like, wow. Anyway. But in that concert, and in many other concerts I've been to, you have to go through metal detectors now. They even wanted you there. So I had my cane with me. That's all I had. But at least it's a big stick. And look, the odds are you're not going to need anything. I get that. Those of us who carry a pistol understand that the odds are we will never, ever need it. But if we do need it, we really need it. So same thing, I guess, with something like this. It's not about being a criminal. It's not about committing a crime. It's about just being more prepared as possible in case that 1 in a million thing happens. And let me be extremely clear about this. Okay, This is not going to go through TSA. I'm not talking about taking this in TSA or taking it in courthouse. I'm not talking about taking it anywhere where it's going to be a crime to carry this, okay? There are places where this would be a crime if they caught you with this. But at least in Georgia and in many other states, concert venues and places, private property, they can restrict your ability to carry anything they want on their property. But if you're caught, then they pretty much just can tell you to leave. If you don't leave, then it's trespass. If you do leave, it's no crime. So, you know, that's a decision you have to make about your personal responsibility to defend yourself and your family. But I can tell you, I've been through a couple of other concerts in the last couple of years, not at the Sphere, but in more local venues where the tickets were not as expensive. So if I really got kicked out, it wasn't that big a deal. And I've had something similar to this on me, and with no issues. Go through the metal detector. It doesn't beep. There's nothing metallic about this. So that being said, I just want to be clear about that. I'm not saying take this through TSA. I'm not saying try to get this on an airplane. I'm not saying take this somewhere and you're going to be arrested. I'm saying if you, like me, are not a criminal and you're not committed, you're not interested in being a hot-tempered person who starts a fight, you want to be the cool-tempered person who stops them, then this could be a good tool to have with you. So, that being said, that's it. I'll stop the rambling. Let's talk about this thing real quickly. I'll give you a little close-up here. This is made of high-strength injection-molded Zytel. So, kind of a fiberglass reinforced nylon, maybe. I think that's what that is. It's a 7.5-inch overall length, about a 3.5-inch blade, we'll call it. Super lightweight. It has a Kydex sheath made by Stroup knives, and by the way, this sheath is Hog Holsters approved, and the cost on this whole setup is $75. It's got a reversible inside the waistband sheath. You can put it on either side. It swivels, nylon screws and nuts, everything. And I said it was Hog Holsters approved because John at Hog Holsters is going to start making sheaths for some knives if somebody needs a sheath. And he said, look, you know what? If you got a Stroup knife, you don't need one of his sheaths. So really, really well made. And Stroup Knives is veteran owned and family operated since 2017. Every blade handmade in North Carolina. So really good stuff. You've seen a Stroup knife on the channel before. It was E.J. Snyder's, I think, a Rocky Mountain Bowie knife or Rocky Mountain something. It was a big old knife. This is their Zytel non-metallic for non-permissive environments, and it's man, really, I think a really good package. Super light. I bet it weighs about 3 ounces if I had to guess. The dark is afraid of Chuck Norris. If you, like me, like to go places where they don't allow you to have metallic objects, then this might be a good option for you to just have in your pocket or have on your belt or whatever, and not where it's illegal. Okay, I'm not telling anybody to commit a crime. I'm just saying if you want to, if you want to enhance your abilities to protect yourself and your family in what is considered a non-permissive environment, this might be a good option to do it. So that's it. Let the games begin in the comments section. I sincerely appreciate you watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival is not an accident. Be prepared. I'll see you next time.